YouTube, what's good? It's your guy Darian, the BowTie Fragrance Guy on this channel. I primarily talk about fragrances, all kind of fragrances. I talk about high-end, niche stuff, super expensive fragrances. I talk about designer stuff, even some of the less expensive clones or inspired by fragrances, whatever title, of course, you want to refer to them as. I kind of cover it all on this channel. But what makes the channel unique is I also like to throw in some style and grooming tips as well. So if you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting that little bell icon as well. So anytime a new video is uploaded on this channel, you get notified. Guys, on today's video, I'm going to be talking about high-end designer fragrances. Now, to me, high-end designer fragrances are kind of that in-between phase of fragrances. It's like, you know, some people come in on the lower end and they, of course, like to explore designer fragrances, the typical designer fragrances, because, you know, obviously designer fragrances are a little bit more accessible. And I think on average, designer fragrances are more mass appealing and kind of easy to like for the average fragrance wearer. Of course, now we have the rush of all these different clones and inspired by fragrances that also give people kind of an entryway a lot of times into the whole world of fragrance and perfume. But I think, of course, before going high-end niche with stuff like Rosia, maybe even Creeds and things of that nature, high-end designer fragrances are a good segue as well. Now, to me personally, I prefer a lot of high-end designer fragrances over especially a lot of the designer fragrances that are on the market today, because they do offer, in my experience, a little bit more of a creative scent profile and a more higher quality fragrance overall as well. And this is just on average. I know there are, you know, anecdotal situations out here. You can find a designer fragrance that was done really well in the whole nine, but I'm really speaking more about a lot of the stuff that's been coming out here over the last 3 years or so. Not a huge fan of a lot of those fragrances, but the high-end designers, I think, are the sweet spot. So I've looked through my collection. There are a lot of different collections to choose from. The Tom Ford Private Blend collection will be a great example, which is kind of an upgrade from a lot of the signature stuff. You have from Chanel, the less exclusive collection from Chanel. From YSL, you have the Le Vestiaire de Parfums collection. And from Dior, you have the La Collection Privé collection from Christian Dior. So there are a lot of different brands that have their kind of high end, and I want to talk about the top 10 in my collection. So if you want to see what made the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump right into this list, man. A lot of great brands I want to just talk about. Quite a few brands made the list. A few housekeeping things really quickly, guys. If you don't have my ebook yet, go and get it. It's called A Gentleman's Blueprint. You'll thank me later. It's always linked in the description. And also, a lot of these fragrances, I know I try to link as many fragrances as I can in the video through YouTube shopping. Unfortunately, a lot of the high-end designer stuff is really hard to find through YouTube shopping. So I'll see, if anything, what I can find and try to link them to the video if you want to check them out. So anyway, let's jump right into it, man. The first fragrance on the list today, this fragrance actually comes from the Chanel less exclusive collection. I actually talked about this fragrance a few weeks ago when I talked about some amazing sandalwood fragrances. This is a fragrance that is centered around the note of sandalwood and is just right up my alley. And this is called Bois des Halles from Chanel. Bois des Halles. This is sandalwood, mandarin orange, vanilla, and tonka bean. So it's kind of similar to fragrance from the Chanel's designer or signature line, which honestly is a fragrance that I really love as well. It's a fragrance that's really done well. Chanel just does fragrances well overall. So even their signature scents like Bleu de Chanel, and the fragrance I'm referring to is called Egoist. Not Platinum Egoist, but Egoist, which is another great sandalwood fragrance. This is amazing. It is sandalwood, but it is, of course, sweet because and a little bit powdery because it has tonka and also vanilla. And then the sandalwood really rounds this fragrance out. It's really creamy and rich in this fragrance. So again, this is kind of the perfect signature sandalwood fragrance to me, and that's why I put it on the list as one of my favorite high-end designer fragrances. Chanel has so many great ones. Sycamore is another great one. Le Lion is a great fragrance as well, and I really could go on and on. Boy, Jersey, there's a lot of great ones from this line, but I love sandalwood and I love tonka, and you have a nice dose of both of those notes in this fragrance, so it definitely made the list. One I would highly recommend you check out if you are a fan of tonka bean, if you're a fan of sandalwood. This one is called Bois des Alps. Of course, everybody's mileage may differ, but I really feel like if you're talking about high-end designer stuff, it is hard, to leave out Tom Ford's Private Blend collection. And when you're talking Private Blend collection, it's really hard to not mention this fragrance. And I'm talking about Tobacco Vanille. Tobacco Vanille. Vanilla, tobacco, cacao, and dried fruits are some of the main notes of this. Honestly, I feel like this is a masterpiece in my humble opinion. Tobacco Vanille. I think that from his Private Blend collection, this is probably one of the most, if not the most popular fragrance from the entire range. And there are a lot of fragrances in the Private Blend collection. Tuscan Leather, you have Tobacco Oud, you have Lost Cherry, Effin' Fabulous, Neroli Portofino. I mean, there's so many fragrances I could go on and on. And there's a lot of them that honestly were really close to making this list, but this is one of the most recognizable, and for me personally, just one that I truly just really love and appreciate. Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford. Amazing fragrance that is really sexy. There's a certain level of sophistication that I feel with this fragrance when I actually wear it. And it's masculine. And again, you talk about tobacco, vanilla, and dried fruits. I mean, anytime you want to put those notes together, count me in. Love this stuff from Tom Ford. It definitely had to make the list. So classically good. This is Tobacco Vanille. Really quickly, guys, if you're not following me on Instagram and TikTok, make sure you do that now. I'll be uploading a lot more content on those two platforms. On Instagram, I am _BowTie Fragrance Guy. And on TikTok, I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. So make sure that you subscribe to both of those platforms and follow your boy. This next fragrance, now we're going to transition to the Christian Dior exclusive line. All right, this is sometimes I get Chanel and Christian Dior, the names of the collection mixed up. La Collection Privée, Christian Dior. Chanel is less exclusive. So from the La Collection Privée collection of Christian Dior, another, again, collection of fragrances. There could be so many I could put on this list, but of course you guys know I had to do Ombre Nuit. Ombre Nuit. Amazing stuff right here, man. This is rose, amber, patchouli, pink pepper. Kind of a fresh, more fresh take on an amber type fragrance. It actually says they have amber green in here, but it definitely has a ambery presence to it. Typical amber fragrance. Smells like a typical amber core, just a little bit fresher. Obviously that pink pepper kind of helping to kind of freshen up the overall scent profile, but I absolutely love this stuff. Again, it is such a signature scent. You can wear this thing anytime, any place, anywhere. And for you guys that love amber, you're gonna smell fantastic. There's so many fragrances, like I said, from the La Collection Privée collection that I really wanted to put on this list. But at the end of the day, I always, when I look at the entire collection, this always stands out as just one of my favorites, and that's why I put it in the top 10. So definitely one that I highly recommend, especially for your amber lovers out there. Again, this one is called Ombre Nuit from the La Collection Privée collection of Christian Dior. All right, guys, now the next fragrance on the list, this comes from the house of Louis Vuitton that actually classifies as a high-end designer fragrance. It is based on price point, and of course, Louis Vuitton being a high-end brand. But this one is called Imagination. Of course, this had to make the list. Neroli, Sicilian Orange, Ginger, Coriander, and Black Tea. Wow. I can't say much about this fragrance that hasn't already been said. I've talked about it a lot on this channel. One of the best, easy to wear, mass appealing, compliment getting fragrances that have been made over the last 5 years or so. Easily. This thing gets so many compliments, is absolutely insane. And what I love about it, and one of the hallmarks for me, is when other people wear it, more specifically my son, because he wears this sometimes, I'm complimenting it. It smells great. It's just one of those percent profiles that work for a lot of people. All right. From the brand Louis Vuitton, again, not much needs to be said about this one. It definitely made my top 10. This is Imagination. All right, guys. Now, the brand of Guerlain has a more high-end exclusive line as well. It's called a Les Art Les Materies collection. They've kind of changed the bottle design on this collection over the last 2-3 years or so. But I have this one in the old presentation, and it's one of my favorites because it contains and is sitting around one of my favorite notes. That is tonka bean, and this is called Tonka Imperial from Guerlain. Tonka Imperial from Guerlain. This fragrance right here is almond. This is tonka bean, a little bit of tobacco, and some cedar wood as well. Like I said, they've kind of changed, they've changed the bottle presentation on fragrances from this collection, but I am glad that I have one of the bottles from the original kind of presentation. It actually was one of those ball sprayers on top of the presentation when it first came out, and then they went to this particular bottle, which looks the exact same except it doesn't have that on the top. It has Guerlain Tonka Imperial down the side of the bottle. Again, just gorgeous presentation, simplistic but elegant all at the same time. And again, tonka bean, of course, you guys know, is one of my top 6 favorite notes. I love tonka bean. It's sweet, it's powdery, and it's just done to perfection in this fragrance. Definitely one that made my top 10. Absolutely love tonka bean, and I absolutely love this fragrance from the brand of Guerlain. This is called Tonka Imperial. Of course, guys, we know that the brand of YSL has the Le Vestiaire de Parfums collection, so I really love and enjoy this fragrance as well. This is Tuxedo. Tuxedo from YSL. Man, if you love patchouli, you gotta get your nose on this one. Coriander, patchouli, bourbon vanilla, and black pepper, some of the main notes. Absolutely love this stuff. Again, patchouli is also one of my top 6 favorite notes in perfumery, and this is a patchouli masterclass in my humble opinion. It's a little bit spicy. Of course, you have that patchouli in here that, like I said, that the fragrance is really centered around. And then again, like I said, it's just, in my opinion, patchouli done to perfection. Very wearable, very masculine, just a very, very sexy fragrance. Very great interpretation of the note of patchouli. I love this stuff from the brand of YSL. Again, this is Tuxedo. All right, and you guys that have been rocking with me for a while know if I'm doing a list about high-end designers, could not do it without this fragrance. Say it with me, oud wood is oud good. Yep, Tom Ford's oud wood, so classically good in my humble opinion. One of my favorite fragrances. This is Brazilian rosewood, cardamom, tonka bean, sandalwood, and of course, there's a slight bit of oud on the dry down. Man, I've talked about this fragrance a lot over the course of the years on my channel, and it's a scent profile that I just can't get enough of. I keep wearing it. It's one of my grab and go. No, don't have to think about it a lot. One of those fragrances I just gravitate towards quite often. I've already been through a 50 ml. This 100 ml is a little bit more than halfway done, and I have to get another one. Proof is in the pudding when you talk about how much I love this fragrance, and it's evident by how much I wear it. It's definitely in the top 10 in my high-end designer fragrance collection from the brand of Tom Ford, oud wood. All right, guys, and this next fragrance, for this next one, we're going back to the brand of Christian Dior, their La Collection Privé collection. And I'll get into it once I show you, but this fragrance is called Mitza. And this is an amber masterclass. This is cardamom, cinnamon, amber, patchouli, and honey. Wow. Discontinued fragrance, and this fragrance was in a battle to get on this list with Fève Délicieuse. Unfortunately, both fragrances are discontinued. Fev Delicioso is discontinued. Mitza is discontinued. I will tell you, of course, I talked about Fev. There's a great alternative on the market that I've talked to you guys about before. And for Mitza, I would say that this is really hard to find, but if you can get Ombre Sultan from the brand of Serge Lutens, that is a great alternative to this. They smell very similar. This has a little bit more of an animalic touch. That honey is a little bit animalic in this fragrance and kind of differentiates the 2 scent profiles. But, you know, again, Ombre Sultan is a good alternative if you can't get your hands on Mitza. But again, an Amber Masterclass, I absolutely love this stuff. Obviously, amber, as I said, it has a beautiful note of honey to go with the amber in this fragrance. Again, just amazing high quality stuff. And that's one of the things I really love about it, the high-end designers. A lot of quality, a lot more creativity than you find in the typical designer fragrance. So being an amber fragrance lover, again, which is probably my favorite note in fragrances, amber, this had to make the list from the brand of Christian Dior, Mitza. All right, guys, for the next fragrance, we're going back to the YSL Le Vestiaire de Parfum collection, and this fragrance is called Baby Cat. Baby Cat, love this stuff. Black pepper, bourbon vanilla, suede, and elmi are some of the main notes of this fragrance. Love this one, man. When I got it, there was a lot of hype surrounding it, and I kind of waited a while and finally got my hands on it. And when I did, I was happy that I did. One of the fragrances that really opened my mind up to a huge difference that you get from the typical vanilla that you smell, especially in a lot of designers, and a bourbon vanilla fragrance. This is probably my favorite, just off the top of my head. It's definitely, if not my favorites, in my top 3 favorite vanilla fragrances in my entire collection. I've always said I'm more of when we talk about a sweeter scent profile, a lot of times I think tonka, I think vanilla is some of the typical ways that a fragrance goes about sweetening up a scent profile. Tonka bean or vanilla, I'm a tonka bean guy. But guys, this is an amazing vanilla scent. Bourbon vanilla is not as sweet, not as confectionery as a lot of the vanillas that you're probably accustomed to smelling. This is one you gotta get your nose on. It's spicy, slightly resinous, beautiful, like I said, not overly sweet, a more mature, masculine kind of vanilla scent profile that I absolutely love. I absolutely love this stuff. So glad I have it in the collection. For a while, it was kind of hard to get your hands on it, but now it's more accessible from what I've been able to see. And I highly recommend you guys, especially you vanilla fragrance lovers, check this out. It's fantastic. This one's called Baby Cat. All right, guys, and last but not least on this list, we're going back to the brand of Chanel, their less exclusive collection. You knew this had to be on here. Coromandel. Coromandel. Patchouli, white chocolate, orris, and mesor. Love this stuff. Really, this is all about a chocolatey patchouli and white chocolate. And of course, it comes off chocolatey because there's white chocolate in this fragrance. So that's the way my nose kind of perceives that note in here. Wow. This stuff is so good, man. Really, seriously, it is so good. Again, I talk a lot about my top 6 notes, and patchouli is one of my top 6 notes. Amber, patchouli, rose, tonka bean, tobacco. Love those notes. And of course, we have an abundance of patchouli. This is centered around the note of patchouli. You talk about a seductive scent profile. This could be the poster child for that. Again, if you love patchouli, I think this is one that everybody should at least get their nose on. It is definitely in my top 10 high-end designer fragrances in my collection, easily. Could this be number 1? I don't know. That's not what we're really doing. We're not ranking, so I don't need that kind of pressure. But it is fantastic. Kind of save the best for last sometimes. I don't know, maybe. But it's one that I really, really love from the brand of Chanel. This is Coromandel. But that is it, guys. That is my time. I hope you enjoyed this video today. What did you think about the list? What are some of your favorite high-end designer fragrances? And also, what do you think about the whole comparison between high-end designers and a lot of the regular or signature line designer fragrances from a lot of these companies? What's your kind of thoughts on the comparison between the two? Do you see a difference in quality and creativity with high-end designers? I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate your time and your attention to these videos. Of course, you guys don't have to watch what you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Please make sure you are sharing these videos out to some other folks out there that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darian. I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.